everyone, welcome back to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones-Cooper, and today we're talking about The Handmaid's Tale. Season 3 is coming to Hulu on June 5th, where we will continue to follow the growing resistance within the dystopian regime of Gilead. Today I'm sitting down with Madeline Brewer, who plays Jeanine, and Amanda Brugel, who plays Rita. But first, here's a sneak peek at Season 3. Put your hands together for Madeline Brewer and Amanda Brugel. That is a great shot, right? It ends on the trailer. It's funny, I got to see the first 2 episodes of Season 3, but I hadn't seen the trailer, and the trailer is so intense. Do you guys still have that feeling when you see it?
I do, yeah. I mean, I haven't. You've seen more of the show than I have, and every time I watch the trailer, I see something new. It's like a little blip or a little second of something new, and I was like, "What was that? Yeah. I don't remember that." Yeah.
Why have you guys here? Like, I'm a full Handmaid's fan, like such a huge fan of the show and the performances you guys give us. So I actually want to start back at the season 2 finale. I want to know your feelings on the finale and her deciding to leave the baby and go back to Gilead.
Go back?
Yeah.
Well, where we leave off, you guys know that she decided to come back, but Rita doesn't know yet. So I'm sure season 3 opener, Rita's going to have some questions.
Yes.
Is going to be like, can I swear?
Yeah, you can. You can swear.
Bitch, are you crazy?
Right.
I got you like a first class car ride out. You got your friend with you, like nice little van. Take the baby. So I was excited though, and I thought it was the best way to end a season. I know that people wanted it wrapped up in a nice bow, but our show does not do bows. No, we do bombs, not bows. So I loved it, but I know that Rita is going to have some questions for her girlfriend.
We talked about this in the car today. We were talking about like what would we have done, and because there was a lot of feeling like why would she stay? And I learned that Amanda likes one of her kids better than the other. So I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. My mom likes my brother better than me, so it's
my
fine.
mom likes my brother better as well.
Sorry, Mom. But there was no other way for it to go. She was never going to leave Hannah. It was never going to happen, and I think it sets us up for the 3rd season in a really incredible way. It's like her desire to fight to find Hannah and get Hannah out is really, for her, that is her her mission that starts the resistance for her and for a lot of us, because she's the one who's really gathering the troops.
And I felt the same way. I mean, I thought when she turned back, I was like, oh, season 3 is going to be fire, because now she has all this extra feeling going into like kind of correcting things in Gilead, which I got to check out the first couple of episodes, and you can definitely see that trend happening. So without giving too much away, can you guys give us a little teaser of what we can expect in season 3?
I think season 3.
Your eyes just got so big.
I know. Did they glaze over? Did you have a stroke? I think season 3, what we can say is we can talk about the fact that there's an Aunt Lydia backstory.
Yes, it's
crazy.
good.
But
like
through
it?
the overall arc, I think you'll definitely see women uniting together. The one thing that's crazy, at least that I felt in as the episodes came out, I expected a certain band or tribe of women to get together. I'm trying to not get fired and say too much, but the unexpected relationships and unions that were formed over this season were crazy. Like characters that you don't think should act together, characters that you don't think should unite together, all of a sudden become like sisters. And what women can do when we band together and fight is insane. That's so. A friend of mine said, "Will this season kick my ass like it did last year?" And I said, "No, but it will make you want to go out and kick some ass." Like after every script, I want to get into a bar fight, just out of nowhere. I'll fight someone right now. Like it's just
break a bottle and
yes, because it's a really good. It's uplifting.
Yeah.
Women uniting together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody reacts differently.
Do you also want to get in a bar fight after reading the scripts?
I can't say that I do, but that's not really Jeanine's thing. I think, Rita's much more of a fighter. Jeanine's like, make love, not war. But definitely no. I mean, watching the show and filming that last episode of the season was just like, it was so intense, and it did really rile you up. It was like, okay, I'm ready. Where are we? What are we doing next? Where are we going? Yeah. Who can I talk to? Let's go to the UN. Like, let's go do something.
We just came back from the UN. Maybe that's why I want to fight somebody. I don't know.
You mean the last episode of season 3 or season 2?
Of season 3. Sorry.
Okay, so you're saying
I just transitioned.
Season 3 finale is going to be a jaw dropper.
It was intense. Yeah.
And it's on a scale that is so epic and so grand. I mean, our show, it's very quiet. There's big huge moments, but I feel like the impact is more of the emotional damage. It's not like huge dragons and big fighting scenes and
Shade.
but no, loved it.
was like,
No, I
okay.
didn't mean it, but I did.
It's over now.
But it's a lovely, wonderful show. But it's just it's just a little more conversational, and it's more intimate when it comes to the tension. But this year, this season finale, we got into our full dragon mode. It's beautiful and epic and sweeping and gorgeous and unexpected, and and it was beautiful to do.
What are those table reads like for episodes like that?
We don't do table reads. We could
don't?
lie and say they were amazing, but we don't.
Yeah. Well, we're also, everyone is in so many different parts of the Handmaid's Tale world at any given time. You know, like I personally have nothing to do with what's going on with the Waterfords. A lot of time, if June is off somewhere, I don't have any idea what's going on with her. I don't meet Rita in Gilead until, anyway.
Pay attention, guys.
So
Pay attention.
You were talking, and I was like, "Shut up."
sorry. Well, that's how a lot of people feel about me. So I lost my train of thought.
That's okay, because I'm actually interested about your character, Jeanine, who is somebody who we've seen
Fine.
suffer the most horrific things under this regime, but she still kind of has like leaned into her insanity and just is sort of rolling with it a lot of the times, which is like quite beautiful and sad to watch at the same time. And you really do bring her to life, which is
Thank
amazing.
you.
So going into season 3, do we see her mood change or demeanor change about Gilead, or what's sort of her evolution?
I mean, I think just in summary of the 3 seasons of Jeanine, I think the first season was her kind of coming to terms and finding a coping mechanism with what has been presented to her. And she was just like, I'm not going to deal with this, so I'm going to pretend everything is wonderful and amazing. And then she becomes a little more lucid in season 2. And, now that there's something really, there is some sort of line that we're seeing with her that's like, this is the line of the resistance, and I can follow this path, and I think she's ready to fight. She's ready to go. She's like, you know what? I have had my brushes with death several times now, and I think that I'm ready to get in there, and if it means I can help someone else, then I'm ready to put myself on the line for that and for the potential of my own freedom. And, she has children. She had children. She had a child before Gilead, that Caleb, and she's willing to risk it all to potentially see him again and to get out of this place. But thank you. Yeah, she's fun. I like her.
Fun, and I think especially like in the colonies, just her whole demeanor during that time. She's like, it'll be fine, and then it was. You're like, okay, maybe there is something to that.
Truth
just
to
like
power,
surviving Gilead is just sort of having maybe a little bit of that.
A little bit of hope, and that's something that we discussed today at the UN. That was really inspiring, and because our showrunner Bruce, his cousin actually works at the UN, so we have that awesome connection. And thank you, and Mom. I do actually call Amanda Mom.
Calls her Mom.
But a theme that we were talking about with some of these women who work with UN Women and UN refugees, and that is that, like, no matter the atrocities, the absolutely devastating atrocities that some of these people throughout the world have faced, there's this hope, this unrelenting hope and optimism that I think is something that you will see in the 3rd season, that I'm glad that we have been able to fit in there, because it is the truth of humanity. It is the truth of the human will, is that we are a hopeful species. Like, we will eventually find the silver lining and the bright side and persevere. That's just what we do. I mean, on a human level, I think, and that is so much ingrained into the characters in this show, I think.
It is, and as like dark as the subject matter can get, the writers definitely always put a little bit of hope in there where you can see, and part of that were the Marthas, and seeing how they had come together at the end of season 2 to have this sort of like underground railroad to get people out, and your character Rita was sort of a part of that. So can we talk about her movement in season 3, and do we get to see more of her backstory and who she is?
No, not really. But
Next year, baby.
Next year, we're gunning for it. Jeanine and Rita backstory. We haven't talked about this at all. You don't get to see her direct involvement. It's so hard for me to talk about this because I don't want to get fired. But you do get to understand that there's been a network in place for a long time. And another thing we learned at the UN today, I feel like this is we're giving you guys a crash course into what we learned, but there's always been a resistance, no matter what terrifying regime has ruled a country or a place. There's always been an underground resistance of very smart, very powerful people, currently underground sort of cells of women all over the world, creating areas and relief for other women trying to get out of abusive situations or sex trafficking or underage brides. And so we really delve into that world, and you get to see it not only through June's eyes, but through some other characters' eyes, and it's fantastic. Because the only thing that we really know, we associate the Underground Railroad with is obviously slavery and the slave trade in North America. But there's underground railroads all over the place currently happening right now. So I think that's the most beautiful thing, and that's why this season was so emotional, was to be able to delve into that world and see how many women are just trying to slowly siphon other women out of horrible situations.
And the show is so emotional for so many reasons. One of them is because of our current political climate and all the things happening with abortion and women's rights in Alabama and Georgia and Missouri, and it's horrific. And I know Ann Dowd in an interview recently, she was like, season 1 of Handmaid's Tale felt really far-fetched, and then as things started to sort of reveal themselves, it's like, oh, we're really kind of shedding a light on these bigger issues, and it continues, right? As the show has gone on, you guys are at this time where it's just like a powder keg moment in history. So how does that inform your performances, or how does that inform how you guys perform these characters? Because it is really important, I think, to a lot of women.
I think we do. We're asked that question a lot, and I think that we do a lot of research. I think that Maddie and I were talking about our process, and a part of the way down to the way we move and our physicality has to change, and it has to be specific to our characters, specific to women that have been in our situation. I, for example, have a limp because I'm trying to pay homage to women who have been in physically abusive situations. And so just the more research we do and the more informed we can be about the choices of our characters, and especially enslaved women, and women facing really, really bad situations. Again, if it's sex trade or sex trafficking, I think the truer we can be to the characters, and the more people will believe us, and then the more people will learn about what we're trying to teach and say during the show.
Has being on the show and learning what you have learned inspired more activism in your everyday lives?
I mean, for me, absolutely. I would never have considered myself an activist by any means. Like, that's not like a word I would have used to describe myself. It's still not. It still feels uncomfortable because then I meet these women at the UN and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not doing even a 15th of the work that you've ever even dreamt of doing. Whatever. That didn't make any sense, but you know what I mean. So, yeah, it's definitely in my life, it has brought, to my career, it has brought another level of importance to the work that I do. Like, you know, it's great to play an awesome character. It's great to play a character that has so much to work with. Like, Jeanine is so rich in her subject matter, you know. It's so rewarding to be on this show and telling this story. But it's also, the show has helped me realize that it's like you're telling the story of some woman out there who can relate to some part of your story. I have mothers who have given their children up for adoption or who have lost a child very early in their life, and felt the struggle that Jeanine went through. And I think it's episode 2 of the first season. I've had people messaging me saying, I felt seen. And that is the importance that, like, you know, we're not on the ground in Rwanda. And God bless the people who are. But I do feel like the way I can... It's like comparing 2 completely different things, but I'm just saying the way that I feel like I can help is by just making someone feel seen in the stories that I tell.
Representing them to their own truth. I think it's a beautiful thing you do.
Yeah.
I mean, art, I think, is the way that a lot of people can connect to some of these issues that seem larger than life. Yeah. You know, you feel like maybe I can't do anything about policies in Georgia, but when you watch this art, you can find avenues and you can have conversations. And I do think it is really, really important, especially when you see the women in the red cloaks showing up at Capitol Hill. I mean, that
truly bolsters us in this storytelling, and for me and my character, just because we said this earlier, we've been all together all day. But it's that, you know, the first season, seeing the red robes and the bonnets was like, oh my God, that's cool.
It's
like,
flattering.
oh my God, it's really flattering. That's my character. That's really cool. But then now the third season is like, okay, I am so honored, and it is a privilege to play a character on a show that has become a symbol of resistance. But now it's like, we've really got to do something. We've got to put our money where our mouth is, and you know, really just talk the talk and walk the walk of being an advocate and an activist, and using the knowledge that we have and the what is the word, the connections and the platform that is available to us, like the UN, to sorry, we were just there. It was amazing.
I'm gonna start drinking every time you guys say
you. I'm so sorry. We were just there.
It was really exciting. I almost got yelled at. It's fine.
I almost got in trouble.
He said we were, never mind. I'm not going to gossip about the security guard.
No, crashing you.
No, it was great.
Okay, next question. Sorry.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
Oh, I don't remember. I do want to know, because, you know, everything in Gilead is so segregated by the clothes. So does that affect you guys in your performances when you finally put on your kind of uniforms? Does that help you get into character a lot?
Absolutely. Undoubtedly. There was a big scandal the other day because they put up the different colors of our uniforms, and I don't think people realize that Martha's are green. I think people thought that we were gray, but we're actually light green. But it's sort of this mysterious vomit yogurt color. I love you, Anne Crabtree, our costume designer. It's so great for the character, not so great for Manda. But it was in the first season, people would step on me or hit me all the time. Like, they would back up and be like, oh, sorry, I didn't see you, or oh, sorry, I didn't see you. And I'm 6 feet tall. You fully saw me. But the costume helped me become invisible, feel shapeless, feel worthless, feel soundless, voiceless. And so immediately my stance changed. Like, that's what I was saying about the physicality. It really helped me find her body, because when there's 14 people bumping into you all the time, you start to feel invisible, unimportant, like you don't matter, and then the vibrant of the red that's like, you see those girls coming from a mile away. Whenever Lizzie shows up on set, I'm like, oh, there's my girl, there, because a mile away.
Yeah. It's especially for the Handmaids, I think the Bonnets, which was such a beautiful transition for why they were created, was to keep the heads down and keep the handmaids from making eye contact, or just to put them in a more submissive stance, and it certainly does that. But then now in season 3, the bonnets are how we communicate. You know, we can talk to each other without looking like we are. You don't have to face each other. You know what I'm saying? It's like we use these oppressive costumes, these oppressive materials that this regime is put upon us, and we use it to communicate. We use it for our Underground Railroad. We use it. It's just like a powerful transition, I think. And that red, as soon as you look in the mirror and just see the red, for me, is just like, here I am. I'm here. And the sea of red that you see when there's a bunch of handmaids walking down the street, it's just like, we're in it. We're here.
Breathtaking.
We're in Gilead.
You see it if we're all together, because I didn't see it. I wasn't let out the house a lot the first couple seasons. Spoiler alert: I go out the door this season, and it's so exciting.
You get to talk too.
I get to talk. I got to see the light. It's so cool. But seeing, especially with sort of larger group ensemble scenes, seeing the starkness between the blue and then the red, and then the sad Marthas, you really start to really assign personalities just to the colors. And the wives are always so erect, and the handmaids are always so subservient, and the Marthas are, God bless them, invisible. But it's just so beautiful to see all the colors, and now what they've come to represent in the world. like now how people, they'll see blue or they'll see something and they'll know what it means. And yeah, it's just powerful. We were on set a week ago no, we were not. We were on set, I think it was a while ago. We were just talking about how like we still don't take for granted the uniforms and like how it's
Not at all.
crazy that we get to wear them.
Yeah.
Such a huge part of the show. You mentioned the wives, and I just want your thoughts on this really quickly. Serena Joy had a moment of redemption last season, but a lot of people are sort of speculating, like, is that enough for a character like a woman who isn't an ally, and then she does one thing? I mean, what are your thoughts on Serena? Because it's hard to feel bad for her, but also she did something nice.
I mean, it's not enough for me. I mean, you are the architect of your own unhappiness and mine, so thanks. But
Oh my God!
but she is. I mean, she was the architect of this society, and you got to do more. She's got to do more. Do better.
I disagree. I don't know.
Well, you live with her.
I think it's Munchausen. I think because I haven't been out the house, she let me out the house. So I'm like, I love you. You're amazing. Go on with your blue dress. I feel again. I'm not going to say the word. What we learned today is that in order for people to get past any sort of just the most depraved things that have happened to them, there needs to be an element of forgiveness. And I'm not saying her actions should be forgotten. I just think that if she does go forward and redeem herself, I do think that there needs to be an element of forgiveness because she was coming from a bad place and she was crazy. I sound crazy defending her. I still love her.
No, but this is why I brought it up, because
we're in the
debate.
We're in the place
Yes.
right now. We're in the mindset.
Good, because I think I feel for that character who set out to have some things different. I don't think she anticipated that she would be relegated off to the sides, that she wouldn't be able to read, that she'd get her finger cut off, or I think it got out of her hands too quickly. And I think she wanted this sort of utopian place that she had in her head with her husband, but she didn't realize that she'd get screwed. So now she's stuck between a rock and a hard place, because where does she go? She has to stand by her convictions or what? Or she stands up and fights and gets what else chopped off. So I feel for her. Also because she let me out the house. Done.
And sunlight is important.
Yes. Vitamin D.
Vitamin D.
Yes.
I just think that's one of the conversations I've seen a lot, and I think people going into season 3 have a lot of opinions towards Serena. We'll see where it pans out, guys. You got to watch it. We do have a couple of questions from the audience. Who do we have first?
Oh, stand right up.
Hi, thanks for coming. This show's amazing. Literally one of the best dramas I think there's ever been on. A question for each of you. One of the things I think is so interesting about Rita is you never really know what she's thinking when you see her on screen. And although you referenced that we won't get a lot of her backstory, did you create your own backstory for her in terms of how you convey the character? And then with Jeanine talking about how the first season, her optimism was a coping mechanism, but it seems like in season 2, it became more a part of her core, because I think about when Charlotte was ill, and she literally was the only person that believed that she could save her. So I'm just wondering, do you think we'll see more of that in her character continuing?
Who are you? Do you have a job? Do you want to come?
question.
Do you want to be a consultant on the show?
My job?
My Lord, you want my job? That was a very good, that was lovely. Quickly, I love the book. I'm Canadian and had to read the book a bunch of times. And so when I got hired, I quickly realized that there was no Cora in the house. In the book, you guys, there are 2 Marthas, Rita and Cora. And so I was given the part of Rita, who's sort of the mean, sassy one that you'll see me play. But because I love the book so much, I wanted to pay homage to Cora, and I wanted to pay homage to that. So the reason that I think she's such a mystery is I'm actually playing 2 different characters. And I have highlighters for both. So in scenes when I'm a little more empathetic and softer and more kind, when all of a sudden are you like, have this girl lost her mind? Why was she mean yesterday and she's okay? It's because I'm trying to play both Marthas. And this is the season, spoiler alert, that I think you finally see me be the most Cora, the most gentle, soft, and you finally will start to understand what's going on in her mind.
That's beautiful. I'm not that good at it, so I don't even remember the question. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So Jeanine, because her whole optimism kind of thing, I think, came out of. I mean, it came out of a means of survival, like I said, a coping mechanism. And I think that it was the only way that she could survive. I think we see a few times in the first season that she's really ready to end it. She's ready for it to be over. And what keeps her alive and keeps her pushing through is just that optimism, that relentless optimism of, you know what? I'm not doing this today. I will see the good. I will see the sunshine. I will see happiness, and that takes her through into the second season and again into the third. I think because it worked. You know, it kept her alive, and I think that it's become a part of who she is. It's become a part of just the fabric of Jeanine's identity now. It's like she was someone before Gilead. She was someone else who was maybe a little harsher and a little quick to anger. And that person, I think, that kind, optimistic, gentle soul was in there. And as crazy as it is to say, Gilead brought that out of her. Gilead's what made her find that softer, more gentle side. And it's served her here and has served her, and it will serve her going forward, I think.
Thanks again for that question. Next.
Hey, I was wondering what you do or think about after a long day of filming to kind of get your mind off the serious subject matter.
I take a bath, and I mean, because sometimes so we film in Canada in the winter, and it's very cold. And you know that cold that's just like, I mean, you're in New York, so it's like that cold that's just into your bones. So I go home and I take an incredibly hot bath, and I look at my phone.
Yeah. There's a lot of looking at our phones.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get to set and if some of us haven't seen each other, we'll talk for like 3 hours straight and then hit a wall and be like, I've talked to you enough.
Yeah.
And then a lot of phones.
A lot of phones.
And then coming back. But I watch a lot of The Real Housewives. Like any cat fights or bitch fights or slapping it's good. The worst, lovely ladies, but just like sort of not dense, hard to swallow. I'm bashing all the shows. I love that show.
I do too, but which one?
Beverly Hills first.
Okay.
New York sometimes scares me. It's like the Handmaids of life. Like I feel like it's the closest to. So I love you, New York, but I have a hard time with your show and your people, the way that everyone talks. I'm Canadian, but I'll watch like cheesy shows. Yeah,
I like that. Yeah. I love that you're Canadian, and if things keep going the way they're going here, can you take me to Canada with you?
Y'all want to move in with me?
Please?
Okay, good.
I think
we'll take you.
all happily go up to Canada with you.
Listen, as a Canadian, this is going to sound like a commercial for the U.S. I love Americans. I think you are some of the most resilient people, and people keep making that joke about Canada, but I think that y'all are going to pull through. It sucks that this is happening right now, but I think it's better, the devil you know, I think it's better to unearth sort of the tension that's going on between the country and address it as opposed to layer it and keep building on top of it. Someone needed to point it out.
You can be president if you want.
Yeah.
You're allowed.
Okay.
But you're right, Americans are very resilient, and as this show shows, there is so much pride and strength and just resilience in its people. And I think that's one of the reasons people love this show, is that it shows the best of us and the worst of us, but the best of us, and it's such a joy to watch your performances. And I cannot wait for people to check it out, because I watched the first 3 episodes, and I was right back in there. So you guys, The Handmaid's Tale hits Hulu on June 5th. Please put your hands together for Madeline Brewer and Amanda Brugel.